I recently revamped my entire workshop, but that's left me with a couple of small issues. I've upgraded my table saw to a full sliding table saw. The issue with that is it's got like a gazillion attachments, and honestly, I have nowhere to put them. I also upgraded my miter saw, and now I don't have room to get plywood in and out from behind the miter saw easily. I'm hoping to solve both of those problems today by building a plywood cart that doubles as somewhere to store all my table saw attachments. Let's get stuck into it and see how it turns out. What I'm hoping to achieve with this plywood trolley is a bit more organisation, a little less congestion in this corner, and just increase my workflow. I've been following Adam Savage's principle on first order retrievability, and honestly, it works. It's all about maximising your space, utilising every nook and cranny, and just having things that you use regularly, easily accessible. Most plywood carts I've seen have been built with a 2x4 frame and then lined with plywood. I'm going to do mine a little bit different. I'm going to build mine out of 40x40mm SHS steel tubing. The main reason I'm doing that is I've got it lying around, and I also like to take the opportunity to develop my welding skills whenever I can. So that's what I'm going to do. I've started off by cutting up some of this SHS. So I've got 3 short bits and 3 long bits, and all I'm going to do is weld them into a T shape, and this will form the center structure. If you're not into metalworking, you could absolutely make this out of timber. If you're someone that wants to have a go at metalworking, this is your perfect opportunity. And just remember, a grinder and paint make me the welder I ain't. So if they're a bit boogery, persevere, keep practicing, and you'll get better. To connect these 3 T-pieces together, I've just cut some sections of the SHS, and I'm just going to weld them in place between all the T sections, and this will form the base of the cart. Now, before you go ahead and roast me in the comments because I'm using 4 sections to weld this together when I could have done it in 2, the reason I'm doing that is because I've had these 4 little pieces that have been too short to use on any other project, and I thought this is the perfect opportunity to use them up. From here, all I'm going to do is cut another piece of SHS, weld it across the top to connect all 3 of these sections together, and from there, the frame is basically done. From there, all I'm going to do is weld on some caster wheels so I can move it around and give it a couple of coats of paint, and we'll move on to the fun bit. I find it kind of ironic that upgrading my workshop has led to more upgrades, and by putting in this table saw has kind of opened up other things that I'd never really considered, like how much clutter's actually in that corner, and the fact that all my push sticks and all my push blocks don't really have a home, and they never have. And I quite often find myself committed to a cut and I'm realizing that I don't have one at hand because they're scattered throughout the workshop. So I'm hoping by giving them a home, I'll use them more. Now this first side of the cart's going to be for large stock, like full sheets of plywood and offcuts of plywood that are too large to fit in a bin. Now because I've just put this sexy paint job on here, I want to protect this from timber sliding on and off and damaging the paint. So I've cut some thin strips of this laminated plywood that I'm going to screw to the uprights, and then I'm going to screw a big piece on the base for sheets to slide along. Quite often when you're processing large sheets of ply, you end up with really long thin strips that come in handy later down the road. So I needed to come up with some kind of system to store those strips. And essentially what I'm going to do is make 3 kind of ladder/pigeonhole sections, screw them to the other side of that frame, and then I'll have a place where I can slide longer pieces in and out without having to stack them up. To achieve this, all I did was took some curtain rod, cut it into lengths, and then I took some more of those long black strips that you saw me mount to the other side earlier, create a rectangle box, put some Forstner holes through it, slid the pipes in and mounted it to the other side. And this is the end result. Now we've got a spot to store all those pesky long strips. The next thing I wanted to incorporate into this plywood cart is somewhere to store those like small square bits of various sizes. You know, all those awkward little offcuts that you get that don't really live anywhere, but they're too good to sort of throw in the burn pile or in the bin. So essentially, what I'm about to make is a series of different size bins that will accommodate different size offcuts. So to achieve that, I took a full sheet of ply and I cut it to the length of the cart, and then I took that piece and I cut a diagonal line across it, basically forming 2 trapezoids. After that, I marked all the locations on both pieces where I wanted all my dividers to go. Now, I just kind of eyeballed this. I wasn't too picky. As long as they're all a different size, they can accommodate all different size offcuts. To make these boxes, I needed to cut some dividers. So once I'd settled on a width, I went ahead and I cut a heap of strips, all to the same size.
From there, I took those strips and I cut them all to their corresponding heights, and then I went ahead and screwed the whole box together. Hey presto, bins. And it's no wonder I could never find a push stick in my workshop. Look how much stuff I had piled on the end of my table saw and just scattered around my workshop. I know I'm not alone in this, but that is all about to change because I'm about to give each one of these pieces its own home. This was actually my favorite part of this entire process. It was super satisfying. Each individual piece got its own individual custom little holder, and I actually had a lot of fun making this. And now what's left to do is round up all my offcuts, put them in their corresponding holes, and sit back and admire what I've done. So, cue the reveals. And I hope you're feeling super inspired, legends, to get out there, get in that workshop, make yourself a cart, and just have fun. And as always, legends, thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate your support. If you've got any questions on the build, please feel free to hit me up in the comments and like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.